Decker Brooks is hockey's bad boy. When his off-ice antics lead to on-ice trouble, the Chicago Grinders give Decker an ultimatum: stay out of trouble in the off-season or he's off the team. So he decides to spend the summer in his tiny hometown, laying low and hanging with his childhood best friend Archer. But then one bar fight and a community service sentence turn his summer and his hockey career upside down. Grace has always hated her big brother's best friend. Decker was a menace when she was a kid, and if the tabloids are to be believed, he's a menace now. Unfortunately, he's the menace who's just been assigned to complete his community service at the library where Grace runs the children's programming. It doesn't take long for their reluctant partnership to turn into a no-strings-attached fling. But as the summer heats up, it's getting harder to keep their growing feelings on ice. Unfortunately, the clock is ticking down on their relationship, and Grace and Decker will have to decide what and who matters most. Corey McCrae, a charming hunk yet socially awkward finance guru, clashes with Riley Palmer, a brilliant rival. This sparks an intense, steamy romance amid fierce rivalry and a scandal threatening their passionate connection. Meet Corey Charming, socially awkward, and co-owner of the established Palo Alto finance firm Grayson and McCrae. Enter Riley Palmer, the brilliant, enigmatic head of the new game-changer in town, Palmer Money Management. Their paths cross at a masquerade ball, igniting an instant spark and off-the-charts chemistry. Yet beneath their masks of anonymity lies a brewing rivalry that threatens to turn any potential romance dead on arrival. As the competition intensifies, Corey battles to retain his clients while wrestling with a baffling, all-consuming desire for the very woman who stands as his most formidable business adversary. Simultaneously, Riley navigates the complexities of expanding her company, dealing with her intensely fiery yet perplexing feelings for Corey. Ricky Dunn is the equivalent to a splinter under my fingernail. He's the older brother of my best friend, and no matter how hard either of us try, we can't seem to avoid each other. The problem started on the night my best friend and I graduated from high school. The party was joyous, a celebration. That night, I willingly gave Ricky a part of me more than the kiss we told others about. Our deal was simple. No strings. Ricky kept his side of the bargain. Years have passed. Being from the same small town and crossing paths, I haven't noticed how handsome he's become or the way he's filled out. If you ask me, he hasn't noticed me either. Until he calls. I'm working for a finance company, one he's now interviewing for. Marilyn, will you be my date for the dinner with the partners? It's only for one date and no strings. The problem is my heart hasn't kept my side of our bargain. I want at least one string. Do I agree to his proposal, or do I turn him down flat? He's the biggest jerk in town and the oldest of the Montgomery brothers. Standing tall and built like a chiseled god who could lift a truck, he owns the biggest logging company in Montana. Everyone wants a piece of him and his wallet. Of course, he's got that broody, mountain man vibe with a signature smoldering scowl every woman with a pulse wants to pounce on. All except me. I can't stand him.
She works at the local coffee shop and writes greeting cards. Who even buys cards anymore? She doodles on the to-go cups, whether it's a flower or a kind-hearted message to lift someone's spirit for the day. I can't stand it. What's even more frustrating is she doesn't do any of it for me. Not since I complained one single time about not wanting a flower drawn on my morning cup of coffee. So when I get a chance to be her knight in dirty jeans and work boots, I don't pass up the opportunity to show her how she truly makes me feel. And I'll do anything to be the lucky man who gets to call her mine.
The Westwood Company is expanding. Leading the charge is Wyatt Westwood, and he's as determined as ever to see it through. His dedication, work ethic, and commitment to his career have propelled him through the ranks of the company, where he now sits just one notch shy of CEO. Unfortunately, one small problem has brought the expansion to a grinding halt, and it's up to Wyatt to fix it. Rhea Marks is a woman some might call a spitfire. She wasn't always that way, but life taught her to be hardworking and determined, and to never let anyone take advantage of her. That's why she's prepared to fight to death to save her family's farm, even if it means going up against Wyatt. Wyatt and his family might have money, but money isn't everything. Rhea's got a lifetime of memories to preserve, and she'll do whatever it takes to hold on to them. It's a battle of wills between the pair, and Wyatt is as frustrated as he is captivated by Rhea's heart. The more he's around her, the more Wyatt starts to think that perhaps the legacy he's fighting so hard for can be hers as well. Keats is my enemy, and ending up in bed together presents an even bigger complication, considering he's my grumpy next-door neighbor. It started with my uptight neighbor being enemy number one. The cocky lawyer always seems to swagger my way with a disgruntled look and piercing eyes when my mail continues to get accidentally delivered to his house. Keats always makes me feisty and annoyed, too. Hence why we're both always in a showdown where I want to rip his shirt into shreds and maybe his pants, too. Why? Because the attraction is too overbearing and lingers in the air. And then we snap and give in. We start the unimaginable. We unintentionally start a neighbors with benefits kind of thing. But I begin to see a different side of Keats, and it turns out he isn't the kind of man I thought he was. The fact that he turns possessive or moves me right into his home due to my house complication tells me that he feels something, too. We're blindsided by our relationship developing, and neither one of us is sure where this will end. After all, we never planned on being everything I wanted. His Emerald Creek's hot, wounded, and emotionally unavailable pub owner. My unforgettable one-night stand with a stranger. And now, my business rival. I should be able to handle that, right? Meeting the perfect man, and having to walk away from him. I keep my promise and slip out in the morning, never to see him again, until my cousins beg me to run their family's restaurant after my uncle suddenly dies, and he's the next-door pub owner. Except now he inexplicably hates me, and wants me gone. But this job is all I have. I'm not going anywhere.
We had a deal, one night, no names, no numbers. She was smart, sexy, and beautiful, the worst kind of trouble. The mysterious woman I cradled through the night could have been the one, if I were that type of guy. The one I could change for. But I like it fine just the way I am. So when morning comes and she's gone, I'm both devastated and relieved. Until she appears in my hometown, on my doorstep, causing trouble to my business. She doesn't seem to know it, but there's literal bad blood between our families. I need her gone. But everyone in Emerald Creek thinks differently, and even my dog plays matchmaker. Falling for the enemy has never been so tempting.
I made a horrible mistake. At my class reunion, I kissed Owen Conrad, my sworn enemy of over 10 years. The former baseball player is my opposite in every way. Where I'm organized and considerate of others, he's chaotic and selfish. Where I'm polite and dependable, he's brash and flaky. The one thing we have in common is that we're both teachers at Sapphire Creek High School, so I can add co-workers to the list of reasons I should not have kissed him. I blame the champagne, but he doesn't buy it. No matter how hard I try to convince him to pretend it never happened, Owen refuses to forget it. He insists there's something between us, a spark worth exploring. And it's not long before I have to admit he's right. The laid-back giant with a boyish, lopsided smirk is actually very generous and fun. He also knows me surprisingly well and sees beyond the walls I've built around my heart. When I'm with him, I'm more than schedules and rulebooks. But no matter how charming he is, it doesn't change our professional dilemma. It's taken me years to establish an impeccable reputation and a well-rounded career for a promotion I desperately want and deserve. A relationship with Owen would put everything I've worked for at stake. Is an unexpected love worth the risk?